Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
We're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, cat-on-the-shoulder-worthy podcast. Today is Tuesday, the 9th of February, 2021. Happy Tuesday, Kristy. How are you today, my friend?
I'm fine. I'm well. I mean, more than fine. I know that's what is that? The
feelings inside not expressed fine.
Right. No, I am well, and I am calm, and I am present. So that is where I am today.
I like it. Well, calm and present.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, I was going to say, I think that's a very good mantra for everyone to sort of look at your day and recognize that being well, calm, and present is really that can be the goal. And that's a very good goal. I am likewise well. I am not so calm, but I am present. Calm is something that I am very much looking forward to, but the volume of things that I am trying to accomplish at this given moment make calm somewhat challenging. I'm having one of those sort of squirrel brain days where I start something and then all of a sudden stop in the middle to go do something else. And I need to find calm. So I think calm
and focus.
Yes, I might need to find a little meditation time in my day. So
that would be a good idea. Let me share something. I wanted to share something today with you and with our audience because I had this very interesting exchange with my friend Joe, who's one of the smarter people that I know. And he's a physicist and works on light and black holes. And anyway, but he wrote me, we've been talking about what is optimism and, sort of, we talk about meaning of life kinds of things. But he wrote me this morning a thought that's been forming in my mind over the last few months. Courage is not acting without fear. Courage is action despite fear. Fear is a necessary precondition for courageous action. It occurs to me that I don't have a similar definition of optimism, but there should be one. For optimism to be meaningful, there should be a necessary precondition, which must assert something like positivity in the face of. Action in the face of fear is courage. Is compassion in the face of anger optimism? Is action in the face of impending failure optimism? The best I can come up with is value in the face of nihilism. Choosing to value in opposition to a world without values is the closest thing I can come myself to being optimistic. And then he said he should probably listen to our podcast to find out the answer. I love this thought train. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about this, and I think that optimism is the antidote or the opposite to cynicism, right, which to me it's a mind killer, kind of like fear is a mind killer. Or maybe it's better to say that cynicism is a heart killer. It kills your heart, where fear can shut down your mind. I mean, I think the two things are closely interlinked, but I think there's something noble about staying active and positive and loving in the face of trouble, in the face of upset, in the face of heartache, in the face of challenge, and when things don't seem like they're doing great. I think that's something very noble about trying to maintain that active, positive, so what are we going to do about it kind of mindset. Yeah, and to me, that's how optimism keeps you going and keeps you centered. And, I used to say when I was back in graduate school that I'd rather be a fool than a cynic, which I know that's sort of turning that old adage on its head, that I'd rather trust and try than lose hope and shut down. And
it's so interesting that you say that, because this morning I was thinking about a experience that I have going on in my life right now, where there's someone in my life who needs healing and who needs to embark on a healing journey themselves. And it's somebody that I love and care for deeply. And I am not responsible for their healing. And I can't usher their healing. And anybody who has participated in any of the Anon groups, Al-Anon, or you know that you cannot command someone else's healing. And so what I was thinking about, I didn't journal it, but what I was thinking about was, where do I sit in this experience of wanting them to heal, praying for them to heal, and knowing that there's a chance that they won't, and there's a chance that they won't choose it themselves. So what do I, as the optimist, what do I, as the determined optimist, do anyway? And so it's so poignant that you bring this up, Kristy, because I think you're absolutely right. It's action. It's pursuing a course of determined action, even when you cannot guarantee that the outcome will be what you want.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't have control over the outcomes. All we have
Yeah.
control over is our reaction to what happens.
Yeah.
And that's about reframing. It's about putting it in context. It's about accepting it and then moving forward.
Accepting it is I instead of stepping into acceptance, I flurry into activity. And so that is the conundrum, right? Both being a determined optimist, but also accepting. And
well, that's what wisdom
yeah.
is. You have to know where you can make a difference and where you have to let it go.
Right. Right.
Without becoming cynical. I mean,
you
have to not become cynical.
I think that that's kind of the whole world is facing this right now. And certainly, you know, as we are entering Valentine's Day, which in particular this year is challenging, so many relationships have been challenged, and just every holiday kind of has its own different weight. That I love this thought. I love what Joe wrote. I think we should put that quote up, and maybe we'll do like a mini thought leader essay or something very tiny just to share that quote, if Joe will let us put it on the Optimist Daily and frame it with maybe notes. Because I think that this is so important to remember, that it is a journey. It is not a destination. And that every day there are people all over this world who are digging in to make the world a better place, and to make their lives a better place, and to make, you know, their communities better. And there is a bit of, I guess I would say there's a bit of selfishness to optimism, because we're unwilling to accept that, you know, there's no chance. Instead, we're determined. So I guess selfish is kind of a funny word, but there's a bit of self-direction when it comes to optimism, that we're all determined, and we're determined to affect the world in the way that we can.
Yeah, as long as we don't lie to ourselves about the possibility of failure, because there's always a possibility of failure. But that doesn't mean that we should shut down and not keep trying.
Yeah, it's so poignant to me that you say, you know, that you use that phrase, don't lie to yourself about the opportunity of failure, because that's what I was saying to myself over and over. I don't want to lie to myself, but I also don't want to give up. And I don't want to give up because I don't want to give up for me and the people that are affected and that are loved. And I'm not willing to give up, but I also don't want to lie to myself that it might not work out as I hope. And that's okay. So
should we turn to our headline?
Well, okay, so I attempted to make some sort of graceful transition to people all over the world anchoring to optimism in some way or another and finding their own individual ways. And we have two stories today that sort of span the lifespan of humanity, right? We have both, you know,
the top down,
and,
you know,
I hate saying the top down, but I would say the economically most abundant to some of the least abundant people, all digging in. And I'll read my headline first and we'll just touch on it. But the headline is Robert Downey Jr. launches venture fund to invest in sustainable tech. Now, as many of you guys know, I focus so much on encouraging entrepreneurs and investors to acknowledge the capital opportunity for sustainability and the fact that it is a growth economy and that it will provide jobs and opportunity for years to come, far better than not sustainable technologies, which are, you know, basically will collapse upon themselves. So what I love about this is good old Iron Man, and I'm totally an Avengers fan, has dug deep and said that he is going to launch what is known as Footprint Coalition, an organization dedicated to using high-tech innovations to tackle environmental problems. Downey Jr.'s optimistic quote is, "I love our planet, but it's got problems. We all know it," said the celebrity in an official Instagram post. "We need new solutions. I'm seeing crazy, amazing new tech products that can restore the environment. And we are at the precipice of the sustainable technology renaissance with AI robotics, computational biology, aka spinach that talks, creating amazing new materials, foods, products, and sources of energy. I love this. Basically, the venture fund, which is expected to raise about more than 80 million a year, will encourage private companies to understand the key role played in tackling sustainability issues. So what you have here is somebody who has both a footprint for communication and outreach, and he has generally done very good things with that, and then backing it with financial investments. And a venture fund is able to take risks. They're able to take risks that perhaps other smaller investors are not. And so I love it. And well done, Footprint Coalition Ventures. And I look forward to being in your cadre in the years to come. So I likewise can make these kinds of investments.
Well, I think this is interesting. And I think philanthropic and this kind of social ventures is super important. Investing in using impact investing to turn the tide against some of the big problems that are sort of existentially facing us. But I do think that it needs to be paired with public action as well and public investment. And so I think this
siloed, is right, not siloed, public, private, and citizen investment,
right?
Investment.
And I mean, I don't think that the billionaires are going to save us, and I don't know that just high tech stuff is going to be the answer. I think it's going to have to be a combination of these kinds of innovations and sustainable technology, the renaissance of this kind of approach, but also using what we already know. We already have a lot of the technology we would need if we could just generate enough public will. And so the educational part of what they're doing might be the most powerful part of the impact at Footprint Coalition, or any of these other kind of big coordinated actions might be able to contribute to moving us away from species annihilation or societal annihilation, So I hope that they don't just invest in fancy things, because there's things which are less fancy, which can be even more impactful on a local level and pay out bigger dividends down the line. And so the headline that I wanted to spotlight is one of those kinds of places that could probably use some investment, but she's already doing some amazing things. And this is about a Kenyan woman who recycles plastic waste into bricks stronger than concrete. And we've written about plastic bricks before on the Optimist Daily, but this story, I loved it because it puts an actual face on the project. So this is Nzambi Mati. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. She's a 29-year-old entrepreneur and investor.
She's 29.
I know. She's one of these brilliant young people. She's from Kenya, and she's based in Nairobi, and she is an entrepreneur who is trying to solve plastic waste and come up with new ways for her community she's employing 100 people right now. And what she's done is she's created a startup that uses a prototype machine that can churn out 1,500 plastic pavers on a daily basis. And the paving stones that are made out of plastic are useful for their environmental benefit because they're using recycled waste. She just takes the waste products from plastic manufacturers and packaging factories, and then she turns it into something which is useful. These bricks, they're far more sustainable, or they last a lot longer than like concrete. And the company is called Genji Makers. Right now, she's just got about 1,500 plastic pavers daily, but she's trying to get bigger. She says that plastic is a material that is misused and misunderstood, but the potential is enormous for its afterlife.
Yeah.
Its afterlife can be disastrous, but if you use it properly, then it actually can become upcycled into something that continues to be useful and bring benefits to the community for a long time.
So I think this woman is extraordinary. Certainly we've written about plastic bricks, right? That is not revolutionary in its technology, but what is revolutionary in the solution is that individuals can have an impact, right? And she has this startup. She is collecting waste from different, basically recyclers or free waste from packaging factories. I mean, that is just brilliant and is making it happen. And it's kind of that both ends of the life abundance spectrum, I guess, abundance and influence spectrum. The amount of influence she can have in her community is extraordinary. So even if you're not Iron Man, you can be Genji maker, creator, and that is just as powerful.
Yeah,
and I guess empowering people everywhere needs to be our goal at the Optimist Daily.
Right. And I love that what she's done, because she did a trial and error. She figured out which types of plastic bind together better. She created the machinery that can mass produce these paving bricks, which are a combination of the plastic and sand. And then her upcycling factory has already converted more than 20 tons of plastic waste into paving bricks. And on top of being incredibly durable, they're stronger than the same size concrete blocks. So they are durable and super strong. And she's already generated more than 110 jobs for the people in the local community. So she's one of those heroes that's using what she knows and pushing things forward in a positive way.
And so we think we have a good investment for Iron Man.
Coalition might want to invest in her startup.
Exactly. Well, we've got some other fantastic headlines on the Optimist Daily. A company called Zipline is using drones to deliver frozen vaccines to remote clinics. There is everything you need to know to support pollinators in your yard right here. That is a great article about the Xerxes Society, and we all know that I am super groupie when it comes to pollinators. I love you, Optimist Daily editorial team, because it's like every single day you're sending me a love note that this move will go okay. There's a headline that reads, "This program in Austin aims to undo racism in the music industry." Thank you, guys. You make me feel good every day that this choice is a good one. What else do we have, Kristy?
Well, there's an article about 5 ways that our brains benefit from a simple walk and how important it is just to move a little bit. And walking is underrated, but actually has great return on investment. Oakland is mandating hazard pay for grocery store workers. And I think that's about equity and acknowledgement that these people who've been putting their lives on the line for us for this whole year, super important to acknowledge that.
There's actually in Long Beach, California, I know that there were 2 stores that have been shut down by Kroger because of hazard pay. And it was on the news, and I don't watch traditional broadcast news very often, but I happened to catch it a couple times last week. And, there's this battle between civic responsibility and economic requirements. And I'm just so proud of these municipalities that are flat out saying, no way, you have to pay.
We have
support.
We have to expand how we judge success, and is profitability really the only bottom line you need to look at? What about the health of your employees and the community around you? A 70-year-old grandfather has become the oldest person to row across the Atlantic Ocean. That's pretty remarkable. There's a conservationist who wants to bring back the dawn chorus with tree frogs, playing frogs in the forest there. And then there's a startup giving ex-cons a second chance while also upcycling construction waste. And that is all today on the Optimist Daily for our lead headlines, but there's so much more. So go and check it out on theoptimistdaily.com. And thank you so much for listening to us here today on the Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share a positive solution-based approach to news with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. And we promise to keep covering current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offering you the information you need to chart new paths for all of us.
Everybody consider please becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. Give it to someone you love or someone you want to inspire for Valentine's Day as a gift. For just $5 a month, $15 or $50, depending on how much abundance you have, support reader-funded independent journalism. And if you would like to sign up for a free subscription or send a free subscription to someone you love, that means the world to us as well. Just visit optimistdaily.com. Sign-up's right on the homepage. Be part of the solution, changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Everybody help us keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Hey, and Robert Downey Jr., we could use some investment too. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.